Xavier,
Yeah.
ready for your next project?
Yeah.
Do you want to know what it is?
Obviously.
Obviously. Next thing we're going to work on is a downpipe for the car. Do you know what a downpipe is?
No, not really.
So the downpipe is connected to the exhaust. It's the primary exhaust for all the engine gases and fumes. But at the same time, the ones from the factory are very restricted. So the hole is a lot smaller and it has a catalytic converter in there that doesn't let as much air flow through it. Now, because it has the O2 sensors on there, the computer wants to balance and make sure it's getting enough oxygen and fuel in there to burn correctly. But with the new downpipe, with the bigger opening, it allows more airflow, which allows more power. Understand?
Yes.
You ready to put it on now?
Yes.
All right, let's show everyone what we got. So this downpipe that we got is the new one from Two-Step Performance. This is pretty hefty. As you can see, the diameter for this is a lot bigger with the clearance, and I'll show you a side by side with the one that we actually take off, as well as the exit, a lot more sizable. And here's a spot for the O2 sensor right below the catalytic converter. This is still catted. I don't want to have an open cat one, so that way I don't have any engine check lights. Also within the box, we're gonna have the gaskets, the gasket that we need, as well as O2 sensor extension and new bolts. So the first thing we need to do is open the hood. Let's go. Good job. All right, so now we have the hood in the service position, which is that notch right there instead of that closer one there. So now we have more clearance, because where does our new downpipe go, Xavier? Can you figure it out? Let me know.
Does it go right here or right here?
Where? Show me.
Like somewhere around here.
Yes, you're getting warmer.
This.
This is our turbo, so no. But on the other side of it is our downpipe. Right under here, we're gonna take the shielding off, and the shielding is gonna go on our new one. But before we can do that, we have to remove this top shielding and this O2 sensor. So to get the top O2 sensor off, which is right in here, you will need a deep O2 sensor socket. I do have a short one. The short one doesn't reach down around this bezel, so I had to go out and get a longer one, but it was cheap enough, only like 16 bucks. All right, now we got both of these heat shieldings off. This one goes over here, and the other one goes underneath here where the O2 sensor sits in there. Each one has 3 12mm screws that hold them in place. This one has one here, one here, one here, and this one has one up here, and then these 2 over here. Now, Xavier came up with a great idea, and what was your idea?
Paint this one red and paint this one yellow.
So we're gonna paint this one yellow with some high temp spray paint, and we will paint this one red with some high temp spray paint. So while he's doing that, I'll be finishing up removing these bolts that are holding in the downpipe, as well as the O2 sensor that's here. We're also gonna have to take off this heat shielding underneath and lift the car up, so that way we can get under the car and remove that part. Then we'll be able to put everything back on. So now that we have these 2 parts painted, we're gonna let them dry for a little bit and get to the rest of it. As you can see, pollen season is upon us, so everything is covered in a light dusting of yellow.
Look at them.
It's much more apparent on the ground there, even on the truck. Blah. Anyway, back to the task at hand. What's next?
Going under the car, taking the bottom part, the bottom panel out, and then going to unscrew the bolts for this.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, now that we have all of our bolts loose, there are a couple different kinds. There are these big Phillips heads, small Phillips head, and then flathead in various spots. 2 here, the small one there, the flatheads on the sides, on all 4 corners, and then in the very back, underneath here, are the spots for the other 2 Phillips head. And then we just slide it back and remove it.
Right, this is where the part goes.
Here are the 3 bolts that we need to remove for the downpipe, as well as the bracket that holds it in place. Gotta spray these. God bless you.
Thank you.
I need a long socket. Give me a long socket. Yes.
Are you ready to go?
Go ahead. Now that we got all the screws out of the bottom, we got all the screws out of the top, this should come right out. The biggest difference you'll see between the two is going to be the exit pipe. How big that is compared to how small this is. While the shapes of these are still going to be exactly the same. All right, now I got everything transferred on here. And this is going to be the orientation of it. And you can still see some of the fresh metal shavings from the milling process of this thing. But this gasket, as well as these new screws, go underneath, right where it connects to the front pipe. So the front pipe is hanging down here. We'll connect that, throw this gasket on, and then connect everything at the top. But first I have to route this up and in there. All right, now that we have everything in place underneath, and we have our bolts bolted in for the top, as well as our heat shield, it's time to lower the car. I also have the O2 sensor plugged in for the top one, or for the side one. Still need to work on the top one, so that means I need to get the other two heat shieldings in place. And with that, everything is done. Check it out. We'll go ahead and give it a quick start so that way you guys can hear it. And we also have a new complete exhaust system on the way, so that way this thing will really wake up. The exhaust system that we purchased is from Thermal R&D, and once that gets in, be sure to stay tuned for that next video so that way you can hear it come alive. But for now, let's go ahead and take a listen to what it sounds like now with the downpipe installed. Unfortunately, I didn't get any before video of how it sounded without the downpipe, but it was very mild and very timid. If you like what you see on the channel or you like this content, go ahead and like, subscribe, comment down below, and let us know what you think. And we'll have a couple more projects for you guys. Until then,
Bye.
peace. Till the next one.